Okay guys, so welcome to our next lesson on the famine. Today what we're going to be doing is working with sources, and on the video at the moment on the screen you can see everything that we're going to be using for today. So essentially what I'm looking for you to do is to read and analyze these 8 sources on the left hand side and then give me information and show me that you understand them using this table on the right hand side. Now I would suggest it this way that I'm doing it at the moment with both of them sources on both the aspects of the work on the screen, so the sources and the table on the screen at the same time would be a very useful way to do this, right? But it's up to you to decide for yourself. For this task, I'm going to go through one of the sources with you at the moment, and then you're going to be doing the other 7 by yourself. So the source I'm going to do is this big long one here, source 4. So I'm just going to zoom in on that source for now. Okay, obviously you guys will be using the rest of the sources. Okay, so I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. Okay, so if I look at the table, the things that I need to find out about this source, so I'm going to be using source 4. And the first thing I need to know is who created the source, when is it from. Okay, now this is one of the easiest questions to answer, because it's always given in this book that we're using here. You'll always find it in the brown at the bottom. It's the same with any source. You should always find it either just under where it says the source title, or possibly down below you should be able to find if it's, say, an interview or an article or something like that, where it comes from. Now, it's not guaranteed that you'll always get that, but a lot of the time you will, so this is the first thing you're going to look for. So the first question I'm looking for is who created the source and when is it from. And I'm going to go and I'm going to read all of this information from the brown and this information underneath. So the source is Mrs. J. Crowley, whose mother witnessed this event in Inchafune. Sorry, so that's the name of the town, I'm assuming. And it's recorded by the Irish Folklore Commission in 1938. The Irish Folklore Commission was set up in 1935 to gather and store oral history. Between 1937 and 1938, school children were encouraged to record such stories from their parents, grandparents, and older community members. This extract was obtained from the Dunmanway Historical Association, so check your local history society or historical centre, but many of these stories have now been digitised on www.ducas.ie/en for English, and could be useful for completing CBA 1. So when we get CBA 1, something to consider. But if we're looking at this source, so we've learned a lot of information there. So who created this source and when is it from? So we learned that that the source itself is from 1938. So we're going to go and click on source 4, and I'm going to write in this source comes from the year 1938. Okay, I want to know when, or who created it. And now there's 2 aspects to this. We have Mrs. J. Crowley as the person who's speaking. So the source is a recording of Mrs. J. Crowley, and was created for the Irish Folklore Commission. Okay, and that is pretty much telling me everything I need to know for when the source is from and who created it. Okay, I don't need to give all this information down here. I just need to give the important things to show that I understand where the source is coming from and what it's about. Okay, so you'll notice I've used full sentences here, given details about where it comes from, and I've given a lot of key information. Now we'll move on to the second question. So just quite simple. What type of source is this? Is it primary or secondary? And is it a book, an article, oral history, or website? So the first thing we're going to notice here, we're going to look for, is primary or secondary. So if we click back over onto the source, we see Mrs. J. Crowley, whose mother witnessed this event. So the woman speaking did not witness the event. That means we know automatically that this is a secondary source. So this is a secondary source from Mrs. J. Crowley, whose mother witnessed the event. And is it a book, an article, an oral history, or website? Now this one, and this is why I've chosen this particular one, this one here is a little strange in that it is an oral history, and the reason we know this is because it says recorded, so this is just a transcript of a recording. So this is actually what we should be looking at here, listening to a recording. This is just someone has written down what the recording says. And the Oral Folklore Commission was set up to gather and store oral history. So this is an oral history source. A recording of an, oh, this is a transcript, sorry. A transcript of an oral history source. Okay, so that's done. That's our second section done already. And now if you look up, I'm just going to show you it's source 2. You can see the bottom of source 2 here. This is not oral, this comes from the Telegraph. So that would be an article, because the Telegraph would be a newspaper. So always just look at the information you're given underneath and how much you can get from it. Okay, so this, the third thing we're going to do here, and this is the most important thing for each of the sources, is actually learn what the source says. Okay, so you want to know what can we learn from the source about the cause, course, and consequences of the famine. Now, what we're going to suggest you do here is you get out a pen or a highlighter and you underline or highlight the information as you find it, as you read through. Okay, so we're looking for information about what happened before, during, or after the famine. So, this death took place at the grinding mill. So, I'm just going to mark death here. Okay, at the grinding mill at Ballinacariga. This victim was shot while trying to produce some flour for his family. The owner, or perhaps the watchman, saw him escaping and shot him dead. He was shot. Oh, sorry. I'm not very good at using this on the I'm just going to try to underline shot there. The owner shot him dead. The corpse was removed that night and put lying on the wall of the bridge beneath the castle. It was Saturday night, and the congregation saw the corpse on Sunday morning when going to Mass. So the corpse was put lying on the wall. So you're going to be able to underline things much better than I am. It remained there all day. Hence the neighbours must have been in great fear. Okay, great fear. Remained all day. On Sunday evening the corpse was dragged by horse into Dunmanway and set up in the market square. So this is a very, very dark account of an event. Okay, something terrible has happened here. So what we see is that someone has gone into a mill and they've been shot dead. Okay, so clearly they must not have been allowed in the mill. Right? They were shot for using the mill when they were trying to create flour for their family. So people are trying to feed their family, but they're being shot dead as a result. The corpse of this poor person is then taken and put on display, and the people are so afraid of the landlord or of the watchman that they will not even go and take the corpse in order to bury it. So we go back over to our table. What can we learn from this? So let's write specific events first of all. So from this source we learn about the story of a person being shot for using a mill in, that should be mill in Ballinacariga. The corpse of this man was, it does actually say, yeah, it does say him, then put on display in a nearby from this account. So these are we've already put the events. Now we want to know what we learn about the famine from these events. So from this account we learn that people of the time were First of all, we learned that they're desperate to feed their families, and would even break into the mill to produce flour. We also learn that there is a huge amount of fear as people will not try to rescue or bury corpse, which is being used as a warning. Okay, so again, we're using full sentences here. We're giving all the information that we can learn from this source. Okay, so you see here, there's a lot of detail in the answer. Okay, so basically for you guys, what I'm asking you to do is to do all of the other 7 sources. Now, I've done this quite quickly here. Okay, oh sorry, I've taken quite a long time to do this here. Okay, I've kind of walked you through it. You should be able to do it a bit more quickly than what I've done it here. It's just that I've been talking and showing you everything I've done as I've gone along. So you have the entire of today's lesson to complete this work. So that's about half an hour after you finish watching this video. I would hope that most people will be able to get the majority of the work done, but don't worry, if you can't complete everything, that's okay. Just try and get as much as you possibly can done in the time given. Okay, if you have any questions, just drop me an email. Tomorrow's lesson, I plan on doing online lesson, but I will let you know through the Teams app just to make sure that that can go ahead. Alright, best of luck guys with the work today.